1 month ago, I challenged all of you. 5,000 subscribers and I'd make a One Piece game. The best One Piece game. The first good One Piece game. But you failed me. We aren't anywhere close and now the dream dies. Or at least, it would if I were a fraud. The few days after uploading that video, I got more subscribers than I've gotten in my best month ever, but I realized two things. First, I'd look terrible if I failed. What if I set a ridiculous goal on purpose so I could get as many subs as possible without having to deliver or do any of the work? It'd put my character in question. And second, how could you trust me? I said I didn't know the first thing about coding, so what if I was just some idiot who didn't know what he was getting himself into? You don't know me personally, so there's no way you'd know how much keeping my word means to me, and I'd understand if you decided not to support me based on that. So, when I was looking at my analytics and realized we weren't going to hit 5K without a miracle, I had a decision to make. Either A, grind as hard as possible for the month to make off with what subscribers I could, or B, do something really big to try get as many subscribers as possible in one high-stakes gamble to keep the dream alive. And if you noticed my lack of uploads this last month, you know which option I went with. That's right, whammon and gentle whammon. I chose to do something big. The biggest thing I've ever done. Something sure to convince all of you that I'm for real. I saw the doubters and I said, challenge accepted. I'm going to make something incredible. And when that failed, I made this. Anticlimactic, I know. Listen, I was going to release a song, but I was let down by multiple parties involved in the production. Then I went on Rant Cafe to spread the mission, but ended up acting like an idiot because I spent the day with my buddies instead of getting ready, and I had to eventually resort to just making as much of the game as I could to have something to show for the month away. As someone who didn't know anything about coding this time last month, it wasn't easy. One Piece and D&D are alike in that they embody the spirit of freedom. When I designed One Piece D&D, I took the best aspects of both worlds to preserve that. The video game edition I just made in 10 days doesn't quite have that yet, but it's on the way there. First, let's take a look at the characters. I've only managed these so far, and they each had to be limited to about 4 moves like Pokemon because they each take hours to add to the game, but it's a start. Before, you'd have to read through this, then make this before playing, but now you just have to click the load button and you're good to go. From there, you go on over to the play menu and you have these options. Longest active patron, Lucas HF, who helped me out with testing, criticized the layout here, especially of the text field, but you guys have to understand, I was on a tight schedule, so I've had to focus on making it work over making it look good. And I've done zero work to make our user interface appealing so far. Now, I made a table in advance because there's a bug with the create table option that I don't want to show you yet, so we're just going to launch that. Now, we have this waiting screen. If your table's private, you send your friends the ID to join and their name pops up in the middle when they're connected. Once you're all in, hit the play button and the game starts up for everybody. Briggs was going to help me out with this part, but he was too busy playing Apex this week, so we had to settle for Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Dan is one of you guys, one of my subscribers who was an angel who stepped forward to help me in my time of need. And it is only thanks to him that I can complete this part in the video because I have no friends to play the game with me, so I really appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
So, the two of us recorded 40 minutes of gameplay, but no one's clicking on or watching all of that, so I had to change my approach here. I'll walk you through the rules and keep popping the clips up on screen for context. First, we have a guy in charge of telling the story because I haven't built one in yet.
Oh boy, you're in trouble now. You may have survived the trials and tribulations,
detailed in the video in the cards,
but the sect master Ning lies in another league. The 3 weeks you spent stranded at sea before washing up on this island were nothing compared to what he can put you through. But he's giving you a chance. You see the sect master toss out a worn-down Alice, and he says, I need only one of you for this month's nourishment. Duel, and the winner shall see their days extended. You look over at Alice, and that girl may be little, but her spirit isn't. She isn't going to roll over, and you're going to have to roll initiative.
Then, once we have a conflict and a plot, because the fighting is turn-based, we have to decide who goes first. The game automatically generates and keeps track of the turn order, and if you have a higher speed, you're more likely to go first. Now, the basics. Whenever you're in the game and want to get somewhere, you can move. Each grid square is 5 feet, the average speed is 30 feet per turn, but Subaru's a wolf mink and Alice is a cypherpole agent, so they can both move faster. Now, the part where you actually do things. Ignoring my terrible button layout, everyone gets one action a turn. For now, these are all the ones we have, and here's how they work. The dash action. This allows you to move at double speed. The hide action. This allows you to go into stealth mode. The game rolls a random number plus your character's stealth ability, and if it's high enough, you disappear from the map for all the other players and they have no idea where you are, so you can sneak around. Because Alice is first, she's going to try and play dirty. So she's going to try and hide first. So she'll click action and click hide. So now Subaru has no idea that I am hiding over here, and that sets up my next attack, and he has no idea where to look for me. The dodge action makes it harder for people to hit you.
Alright, well, considering I have no idea where she went, I'm just gonna move and hope for the best. And you know what? I'm gonna take the dodge action.
And finally, we get to attacks. I won't explain where the number comes from, but everyone has an armor class, or AC for short, that's basically how hard they are to hit. The game generates a random number between 1 and 20 because I'm copying the dice from Dungeons & Dragons, and adds a little bonus to it that's usually from your strength. And if that number is higher than the AC of the creature you're targeting, you hit, and your attack will deal damage. You don't have to remember how that works though, because the game handles everything for you.
I'm gonna pull out my sling. You're not getting away from me that easily.
Oh ho ho.
Just enough.
1, 2, 3.
Finally, I hit.
You dealt 4 damage. The sling is a 1d4 weapon, so that's about expected. So, now that we've gotten through actions, everyone gets a reaction, bonus action, and object interaction, like drawing a weapon or opening a door, every turn too. But we don't really have those yet, so we're skipping straight ahead to the fun parts. Features. Although I'm confident my game will have a ton of amazing things to make it special by the time it's a real game, these are pretty much atop the hierarchy of awesome.
You're gonna see my hands start to have static around them, and then I'm gonna go for a stun gun attack.
Okay, so some of that mink electro charges up, and he's gonna try stun me.
Alice resisted the effect.
Let's go! Depending on your race, skill set, devil fruit, and, well, character design, the features available to you vary greatly. I used some stamina on finger pistol before, but since I'm already all the way here, I'm going to try again. Let's see if this time it removes the hidden condition from me. I'm going to press yes to use stamina. I'm going to target Subaru. 15! 15 is enough to hit.
Yes, I did take damage. I took 16 damage.
The reason the game uses a stamina gauge instead of fixed numbers of uses per feature like PP and Pokemon was so they could be as flexible as possible, and so you could adapt your fighting style fight to fight.
I'm upset. I'm gonna reach out and rip out my claws and try and slash across her face with mutilate. I'm just really mad, you know. Take this, Alice.
Okay.
And I missed again.
features can be literally anything you want them to be, as long as it makes sense that you'd be able to do them. Alice is a musician, so she can play songs that induce status effects, and Subaru's a dancer, so he has a move that draws aggro from enemies. I want to make sure I don't receive damage, so I'm going to sing my song of bewilderment with my flute because Alice is a musician. So I use that feature, I say yes, and let's see what happens. Waiting for Subaru to make a saving throw.
I've been stunned.
I've been developing these for years, so I have hundreds of features for all sorts of characters already cooked up. From the user of the Butter fruit, who's a long-arm waiter that fights with plates designed by Mother's Basement, to Parvision's Honey Badger Mink with the power of beans, to, well, more normal Cypherpole characters like Alice. And I'm going to use one of my features, so I click over here, and I'm going to click on Shave. Because she's part of the Cypherpole, she's able to use some of the 6 powers. She shaves, and that lets her move even more, at double the speed. And if you've been thinking about how cool these would all be for like 1v1 fights, you're simply not thinking big enough. The game doesn't have a limit to the number of players, and since there's way less rolling and reading rules than traditional D&D, you could have a dozen people on the same map in a battle royale, or as different crews with complementary skill sets fighting to the death at sea. I just didn't have enough friends or subscribers to do that, so we ended up with a 1v1 that came down to Dan and I just standing in one spot, swinging our weapons at each other to get it over with.
I'm just going to use my sling.
You may have more health, but I'm using a better long-range weapon than you.
I miss so much, so you're fine. I missed again. I've missed like 80%, 90% of my shots actually at this point. You forgot, I forgot. We're even.
Okay, I'm going to remember this time. I already missed you with my gun. The fight was so long and we missed so many attacks that we were celebrating every hit just so we could get it over with.
Alright. Going in for another swing. This time aiming for the head.
Okay.
I hit!
Let's go! So I pull out my greatsword and I try to run it straight through him. I hit. And I'm going to end turn. What are you at?
Roll a death saving throw. I'm down.
Let's go! Okay, so Alice is the winner. Obviously, whether or not Subaru succeeds, since it's a 1v1, I can just keep stabbing him while he's on the ground unconscious and he will die. 2 players is the bare minimum, but we obviously have characters like Patron Bolivar Sanchez is Kiddick with area of effect attacks from his Gren Lagan Drill fruit as well, who can mow down herds at a time, or Patron Lucas HF's Alice. Yes, that character was actually made for a Patreon supporter and I'm stealing it. Whose songs can influence anyone who can hear them. And if combat's not your thing, that's only half the game. You saw the janitor and innkeep before. We have rules supporting all sorts of skill sets that affect how you interact with people or just live life, because the One Piece world embraces all walks of life. I just haven't written any of that code because I've been at this for less than 2 weeks and combat's more impressive to people when it comes to games. I'm out of clips I can sprinkle in cleanly, so I can't tell you any more about the game until I've got a video idea that'll let me do that without my engagement falling off a cliff. For now though, thanks again to Dan for staying up super late to help me out with this, and I'm really sorry I cut up our recording so bad and wasted your time. Back to the main video. The game's obviously super full of bugs 10 days into production, but I hope you can see that I really am serious about this and I want to ask for your support again. When I say I'm going to do something, I'll deliver, and here's the new goal. 7,000 subscribers by the start of October. It's a little more than before, but we're starting with more subs, the window's a little longer, and I'm doing even more work. To be able to learn how to code and make this high school summer project level of app in such a short time, I've slept between 3 and 5 hours a night this month, eaten every meal out of a can because I haven't had the time to cook and don't have anyone to do it for me, and fallen sick several times because my body's worn out and I'd stay at my desk till 5 a.m. in the freezing cold before having to head out for my day job. Honestly, I feel like I'm in the worst condition of my entire life and I physically can't keep this up, so I'm going to take a break now. I want the game to have actual graphics somewhere between 90s pixel art and Minecraft, and I want to have a full roster of playable characters and creatures, and eventually even a short single-player story mode everyone can play through alone if they don't have friends. Oh, and making it cross-platform instead of Android only would be great, but all of that will either cost money I don't have or require me to pick up skills I'd need to spend time I don't have to pick up. So the only way this game will ever be finished and publicly available is if I'm able to crowdfund on Kickstarter, but I'd have to be an idiot to try to do that with an audience that gives me 3,000 views one video, then 300 the next. Which takes us back to subs. If I didn't think I would keel over and die trying to make this game, I'd do it, but I'm asking for a modest 7,000 subscribers, so I know you all actually care as much as I do, and it's worth going forward. You as an individual count, so hit the shiny button and tell everyone you know about me so we can get to our goal. I'll make an update video every 1,000 subscribers with any new features or improvements to the user interface, or to show you the new characters we've got, so look forward to those. For now though, I just want my first warm meal, full night of rest, and episode of anime in a month, so I'll be calling it a video. Thanks for sitting through my whining. 3 random people who comment on this video get added to the team of beta testers. Until next time guys, this has been Ken-chan expending my life force.